Hi everyone, and welcome to or welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be my second SUMMERWEEN vlog. So if you've not watched my first SUMMERWEEN vlog, you might want to do that first just because I explain my TBR and you'll sort of know where we're following on from. But it is now the next day and I was gonna edit the first vlog, put it up that night and yeah, probably just continue filming. Unfortunately, it took way longer than I thought to edit that video. I thought I'd not filmed much at all and it ended up being almost an hour's footage. So yeah, it took me quite a while to edit it. My computer was running really slow. And it was just driving me mad. So yeah, it didn't work out fully as I planned. So I didn't get any more reading done really last night because I was just like fully sat here working away. So I'm now sat back at my computer and I've just made a thumbnail for that first video because it's not actually up yet. It goes up in like an hour. I did start a tiny little bit of my next book last night. I started reading Pen Pal by Readathon Back. This is the book that I want to read in the dark and I was so tired. I think I read like half a chapter and then I fell asleep, and then I got to work like an hour early this morning, so I started reading a little bit more of it and I'm now at 14% of the way through. So the first chapter is called Memories and I really like this chapter. I love the way that it discusses memory, obviously, and there was this really interesting quote which said, "At any point in our lives we've forgotten more than we know about our own history. The world moves on and so do we, and what was once important fades away." And that just resonated with me because it is scary to think about how much life you've lived and how much of it you can't really remember. And yeah, just the thought that we've forgotten more about ourselves and our experiences than we know. It's just weird to think about. And he was talking about false memories, and a lot of your memories are filled with guesswork and just your brain filling in bits that don't really make sense anymore. And there was another quote which said that some people gift themselves by forgetting certain things, say if it was trauma or something like that. And I've just read My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell, and I feel like that book was a good example of showing how you can almost alter your memories of the past in order to survive, almost like a survival mechanism, because you might remember something a bit differently so it doesn't hurt as much. Yeah, it was just an interesting first chapter. And then I read the chapter after that, which is called Footsteps, and that's about our main character. As a little boy, he's 6 years old, and part of his childhood is that he gets to explore quite a lot, and there's some woods behind his house and he's allowed pretty much free rein in the woods as long as it's light outside. In order to follow the rules and get home before it goes dark, he convinces himself that there's monsters in these woods, and as soon as he starts making his way home before dark, the monsters come out and start chasing him. He starts experiencing some freaky things. It was really atmospheric. I used to have some woods kind of near my house where me and my sister used to play in, so I could visualize this whole situation. I will say though, I'm not creeped out yet. I kind of thought that every chapter was going to be super scary, and it did end on a creepy note, but I'm hoping that it gets even scarier from here on out. So my plan for the evening, it's now 4:15. I'm just going to do some more things for this. I'm looking at this thumbnail and I don't like it. I don't know what to do with it to make it nice. I don't know, so I might play around with that for a bit, and then I'm probably gonna have a bath or something. I feel like just chilling out, and then I'm gonna get into bed quite early and read this in the dark. I did try and film it last night, but I don't think this camera, because it's just my phone, I don't think it's gonna pick up the lighting very well. I might try and film a bit later on, but I imagine it's gonna be kind of blurry and not good. So yeah, I do want to get quite far into this book. I want to get to like at least halfway through, but so far I'm getting a good feeling from this. I like the way that it's written and it's atmospheric, and I just feel like it's going to get really creepy. I'll let you know my thoughts when I get a little bit further on. So it is now the next day. It's currently about 8 o'clock. I've been at work all day. Then we did a food shop, then we've had tea, we made some enchiladas which were really good, and I've got enough for tomorrow's dinner, so that's nice. And then I've just had a scorching hot bath, which is why I'm so red and my hair is wet. I've had a headache like all day and I didn't have any paracetamol or anything I could take, so I just wanted to lie down and chill out, so that's what I've been doing. And whilst I was in the bath, I did read a little bit more of Pen Pal. I know I said I wanted to get to 50% last night, that did not happen. So I did read a little bit in the dark and I did try and film it, so if the previous clips were really bad quality and blurry, then I'm sorry. So I'm now 37% of the way through, but I'm literally going to spend the rest of the night reading. It does say that there's only 2.5 hours left in this book, which I don't really believe, but I feel like if that's true, then I might try and finish it tonight and just stay up. I'm really enjoying this book. There's not been anything super scary yet, but there's definitely some creepy undertones. The last chapter that I just finished was balloons, and that one was really good. We're still following that main character. He's doing this school project where they write letters in balloons and then send them off, as in like let go of them, and whoever finds the balloon will then write into the school. And the ending to that chapter was really creepy. And now I'm in the middle of the chapter called Boxes, and I've just stopped at a bit which I think is going to be really freaky, and it's to do with like going underneath the house. And there's been some hint earlier on that there's something underneath that house that you just do not want to see, so that's what I'm about to go into. I'm just a bit sad that I'm not reading it as much as I want to, but I have put myself on a fallout ban until the end of this readathon, so I won't be spending any more hours on that until the weekend. I'm going to read some of this now. Hopefully I can get through quite a lot of it now, and I will let you know when I next have an update. Hi everyone! So it's now the next day again. I'm really sorry that I'm not filming more clips, but I am working this week and there's just no way that I'm filming in the morning before work because it is way too early. I can barely drag myself out of bed. I've just got home and I'm just finishing making a cup of tea. So last night I said I wanted to finish Pen Pal, and surprise, surprise, that did not happen. I think I got up to about 55% of the way through and then I fell asleep. So we're now on the penultimate day of the readathon and I still have 2.5 books to read. So it's now about 4 o'clock. I'm already in my pyjamas. I'm planning on not moving and reading for this whole evening. We have leftover enchiladas for tea, so I don't need to cook or anything. Yeah, I'm literally just gonna sit down and read. Apparently in my book, I've got an hour and 20 minutes left, so I should be able to get that done pretty quick. I'm still really enjoying this book. I love the feel of it. We're mainly following these two young boys who just love going on adventures and exploring, but there's some creepy elements in there. I'll admit that it's not as frightening and scary as I thought it would be, but it's more of an unsettling feeling rather than full-on scary stuff. So even though it's not as terrifying as I thought it was going to be, up till now anyway, I'm still really enjoying the creepy, unsettling feeling. I really like reading about these boys' adventures. They just want to go play in the woods and stuff, and it just reminds me of being a kid, and it's just a really good atmosphere for a horror book. Again, I really like the writing. My only slight issue with this book is that the children feel much older than they actually are. So in this book, the child is like 5 or 6, and although it says that this child has quite a lot of freedom in terms of where they can play, it just seems very young. Like, I'm picturing a 5-year-old as in like a reception class at school, and they look like babies, and I cannot picture these characters as young as that. Maybe like 8 or 9, but that's my only slight sort of issue with it. So I'm now going to sit down with my cup of tea and my Kindle and finish this book. My plan for the rest of the evening is to possibly start my next novella, which is This Is Where We Talk Things Out. I'm not entirely sure how long this one is. I think it's kind of short, and hopefully I can finish that tonight as well. I know this is like super wishful thinking. I also want to take some SUMMERWEEN photos for my Instagram, so it's going to be a very bookish evening, and let's hope that I can get at least one of these books boxed off tonight, hopefully 2, and then we can start on We Spread tomorrow. And at this point, I'm probably not going to finish We Spread in one day. I'm going to still try and read them all before the end of the readathon, but I guess we'll just have to see. So anyway, I will let you know when I finish this book and give you my final thoughts. Hi everyone, so I've just finished Pen Pal. The ending was so sad. I didn't expect it to end like that. Yeah, it was really sad. It was such a creepy story, and I loved the relationships in this book, especially between our main character and his friend Josh. It just ended in a very scary, horrible, sad way. So I really love the ending, even though it was quite emotional. There were a few times where I got a little bit confused with the timeline because, well, this originated as a post on, I think it was Reddit, on the No Sleep forum. So it feels very episodic, but there's times where I'm not sure how the timeline added up because it wasn't in like chronological order. So sometimes I was a little bit confused with that. And then there were just a few bits where I was just a bit confused. I don't know if it's an editing issue or something. I'm going to put like a spoiler warning here. I'm not really going to talk about the spoiler itself, but I just want to put it here just so if you don't want to hear anything about this book at all, then you can like skip forward a bit. There was a bit at the end where the main character said that his mum must have known the whole time that Josh was missing. She must have known what really happened, and that she lied to his parents, and that his parents still think that he's missing today, but his dad was the one that found him. I didn't understand that bit, because why would you say like parents? Okay, Josh's mum doesn't know what was going on, but the dad did. Or the dad definitely found him. So he does know that he's been found and he's not missing anymore. So yeah, that just really confused me. Anyway, end of spoilers. But other than that, I really enjoyed this. I think I'm going to give it either like a 4 or a 4.5, just because I've been very invested in it. I've wanted to just keep reading it, even though I've not really been able to. And yeah, it was really good. So it's now about 5:30. Sorry, I've just moved because Matt came home from work and I've still not got the courage to speak to a camera in front of him. So I've just come up here to finish off what I was going to say. So I'm now going to start reading This Is Where We Talk Things Out by Caitlin Marceau. And to my absolute delight, this book is only 78 pages long. So I should be able to fly through this and also start We Spread by Ian Reid later on. There is still hope for this readathon for me to actually finish it. So there is a content warning at the start of this book that says it contains graphic violence and gore. But there's also a second content warning bit in the back, which it says may contain spoilers, and it has a bit more detailed content warnings. And I really love that because it gives you a little bit of a warning about what's to come and gives you that first chance to say like, actually no, I'm not feeling that right now. But it also doesn't spoil anything, because I do find that content warnings can often spoil the plot. But if you do want to read about the content warnings in more detail, then there's also that option for you as well. So I think that's a really good way of doing it. Anyway, I'm going to start this one now, and I will give you an update when I'm maybe halfway, maybe when I finish it. It depends how fast I like fly through it. Hi everyone, so it's now about an hour later and I've now finished This Is Where We Talk Things Out by Caitlin Marceau. I think I'm probably going to give this one like a 3-star. Like, it was pretty good, I read it all in one go, but it's not my favourite type of horror. It was mainly a domestic horror, so we've got our main character Miller, who's been invited on like a weekend away with her mum, who she previously cut out of her life because she was just a very toxic person. So they go off to this snowy cabin, isolated situation. Basically, it's about this very toxic mother-daughter relationship, and I really despise the mum. So I think even though this book was about 80 pages for me, she was very emotionally manipulative. She gaslighted Miller constantly, and it was quite frustrating to read really, but she was a very good villain. I did see where the story was going to go quite early on, but that final chapter was still very harrowing and was a really good end to this story, I think. So I think it might be like a 3.5 maybe. I feel like this readathon has been a lot of like 3s and 4s so far, so I'm hoping that my last book is a 5. So the last book that I have for this readathon is We Spread by Ian Reid. I am going to start this today, so I have finished 2 books today already. I do feel a little bit more on track with the readathon now because I've finished 4 out of the 5 books that I wanted to read. I've got 1 day left and it's currently about 8 o'clock. I've just looked at We Spread and it's 287 pages long, but there's a lot of spacing in between the lines, and there seem to be quite a few pages that are quite gappy. So I think it'll be a really fast read. I'm really craving playing some Fallout right now, so I'm gonna go do that for a little bit, just because I've been reading constantly for like 5 hours now, and then I am gonna start this book definitely before I go to sleep, and then I'm gonna finish it tomorrow 100%. I'm so excited to read this. I mentioned in my first vlog that I read I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid, and I absolutely loved it. I loved the unsettling, creepy feeling it gave me. I couldn't even put my finger on why it was so scary, but I felt constantly on edge listening to that book. So I hope that this one gives me a similar feeling, and I hope it makes me cry, because I saw Gabby cry a ton reading this, and I hope it has that same impact on me. So I will speak to you either later on tonight or tomorrow with my first impressions of We Spread. Hi everyone and welcome back to another clip of me in my kitchen, barefaced in my pyjamas. I've just got home from work, it's about 5 o'clock and I have some reading to do. So last night I started this book and I only got to page 26, but already I can tell that this is going to be such a sad book. Already it's reminding me of my granny, so I'm just picturing her whilst reading this book and it's making me so sad. So we're following this widow. It doesn't say how old she is, I don't think, but she's very lonely and she's doing a lot of thinking about what it means to grow old and to age. It seems like she has quite a lot of regrets of things that she never did, and now it feels too late. And that just must be the most horrible feeling, to feel like your life's over and you just want more time and you want to do more things, but you know in yourself that that just won't happen. So it is making me feel pretty emotional already and I feel like I'm probably gonna cry, just because if I can be sad at page 26, then what am I going to be like after 300 pages of this? So that's my plan for this evening. I'm going to try and finish this. I've got this really nice salad for like a pre-tea snack. I made this for my dinner today and I took it in and then I realised I forgot my dressing, and I know that's the biggest first world problem in the world, but yeah, I literally could not eat this salad without the dressing. So I ended up buying some soup from work. So now I've just got this nice salad to eat, which will keep me going for a few hours, and then Mac is getting home from football later on, probably like 8:30, 9. I mean, this is quite a loaded salad to be fair. It's got like feta, serrano ham, cucumber, tomato, olives, capers, pickled red onion, and half a bag of salad from Aldi. So it should probably keep me going for quite a while. But yeah, so my plan is to eat, read, and I will let you know when I'm about halfway through. Hi everyone, so it's now about an hour and a half later, I think, and I'm currently halfway through We Spread. It is a very fast and easy read. As I said, a lot of it has quite big space in between it, and it's very just quick, snappy. So our main character Penny, as I said earlier, she's getting old and she's starting to forget little bits of things, and she had a fall in her apartment and she really didn't want to leave this apartment because she'd lived there with her partner for many years. But it turns out that before he died, they had picked a nursing home for Penny to go in and paid a deposit and everything, so that when she couldn't cope looking after herself anymore, she would have this place to go to. And it's in this wooded area, it's quite isolated, there's very few residents there. And what starts off as a really nice experience for Penny, getting to meet all these residents and getting looked after, being well fed, things have started getting a little bit eerie at this point, and it's just nice to see Penny in an environment, even though it is a bit weird, where she's getting to speak to people her own age, she's having interesting conversations, she's feeling inspired to paint again, which is something that she'd not done for a long time. So it's just really nice to see that. But yeah, things are getting a little bit weird at this point. I do have a tiny bit of a theory about what's going on, but it's not very fully formed in my head, and I feel like it could literally go anywhere at this point. But yeah, it definitely feels very uneasy. Exactly what I was feeling when I read I'm Thinking of Ending Things, where I was scared and on edge, but I couldn't really decide why. It was just a very weird, uneasy feeling, and I really love that. And this is what this book is giving me at the minute. So I've been able to read the last 100 pages in probably about an hour. So I'm going to continue now, and hopefully I'll finish it by, I'm going to say like 9 o'clock. So yeah, I'm going to continue reading now, and I will let you know when I finish it. Hi guys, so it's just before 8 o'clock I think, and I've just finished We Spread. I think I'm going to need to do a bit of a deep dive into this book online just to see what everyone's theories are, but I now have my own theory, and yeah, it did get me a little bit teary-eyed at the end, but it didn't like push me over the edge and make me actually cry. This book has a lot to say about memory, growing old, the prospect of living forever and whether that is a good thing. It definitely has a strange, eerie feel to it. It's more playing on the human fear of dying and of losing your memories, losing the ability to look after yourself. It made me think a lot about dementia and how scary that as an illness is. The idea that you can almost get lost in your own mind and fall back into those old patterns. The feeling of being confused, not being able to trust yourself, not being able to trust anybody else. This book has all of that horror in there, that kind of fear. So I do think it was very effective in that way. And like I say, it was super fast. I've literally just sat here and read basically the entire thing in one go, and very quickly as well. I think it's taken me just over 3 hours in total to read. So I think I'm gonna give it a few days and think about it, but I think this is probably going to be like a 4-star at this point. But yeah, my theory of what was going on is kind of simple, but I've literally just finished it now, so my opinion might change. But anyway, this is the end of Summerween. I actually managed to read 5 books in 6 days, so I'm really happy. I'm very proud of myself. So just to summarise what we've read in this reading vlog, I started off with Pen Pal by Dathan Auerbach, which I'm giving 4.5 stars. The more I think about the ending, the more disturbed I am by it, and yeah, I just really loved reading that book. The next one that I read was This Is Where We Talk Things Out, which I think I'm going to give a 3-star. It reminded me a lot of Misery by Stephen King, which I also gave 3 stars, I think. So I feel like that kind of horror just isn't my favourite. But if you liked Misery, then I think you will like that one. And then finally we read We Spread, which I think is going to be a 4-star. And then in my previous video I read I Miss the World and Daisy Darko, which were both 3.5 stars. So overall I think this was a pretty successful readathon, everything being from 3 to 4.5 stars. Unfortunately there was no 5 stars, but that is totally fine because I've really enjoyed everything else that I've read so far. Obviously my favourite was Pen Pal, so it was good to discover that. I've had the best time doing this readathon. I hope you enjoyed these vlogs. Let me know if you participated in Summerween and let me know what you read and what you enjoyed. Give this video a like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will hopefully see you in my next video. Bye!